And welcome to episode 103 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean Ani, Director of Operations, and I'm joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing today, Todd?
I'm good. I have a new microphone, so hopefully it fixes some of the issues that we had last week.
Yes, sir. For anyone that downloaded the episode last week, we do apologize. It was not the best sounding episode, but we did what we could. But hopefully this week will be much better since Todd has now got a Yeti. Welcome to the club.
I just turned up the, what is that? The gain there.
The gain, yeah. It takes some getting used to. You know, it's a very different creature than...
Yeah, it's huge. It's a lot bigger than the blue snowball, which is kind of... I had like a cheapo blue snowball, and it had these plastic legs, and so... If you've been listening to the podcast, like I would knock it over pretty frequently and stuff, which I think is why we had the static problem last time.
Yeah, I think you finally had knocked some parts loose there.
Yeah.
But for those of you wanting to ask questions, we are taking them now both on Twitter at TechnoBuffalo Show or TV Show Podcast. Excuse me. And you can also ask your questions in the YouTube chat, which I can now see. I've reconfigured things so I can see that at all times. To Top G, who's saying make a giveaway. We have giveaways all the time. Just keep an eye on the site. There's more coming, I promise. So a lot of things going on this week. I think we should start, with a big bang. Yeah, I know. I had to get at least one explosion joke in there. So yes, of course, the Galaxy Note 7. It looks like it's completely officially dead.
It's dead. I mean, according to Samsung, they're stopping production. That's it. There was a story today. They're not quite sure. It seems like it's related to the battery in some fashion, right? And thank you, Jeff, if you're listening. I know you tipped us off to a post that showed a picture that made it look like the pins were kind of bent or curved, and then would bend into each other. I guess like the contact points in the battery or something, which would cause a short circuit, which is what Samsung thought was happening, short circuits. But originally they said, the Galaxy Note 7's battery, like one of the manufacturers, actually, I think it was Samsung SDI, like the battery was too big for the compartment. It was getting like pinched in there somehow. And this one, and then so they did the recall, right? And they issued the new units. This one kept catching fire, and it was like, okay, clearly that wasn't it. And so now they're still digging through it, and 100% I'm not sure really what's going on. But in any case, the carriers were the ones this week that first started.
Right.
AT&T was like, you can bring it back if you want to. We're not selling it anymore. And then almost immediately, like Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, all were just U.S. Cellular. We're like, all right, that's it. So like Samsung hasn't even they did sort of do a recall, but not with the CPSC again just yet. It's like the carriers were just like, all right, we're not selling it. So like they helped push that, and then they decided to stop production.
Right. So now I know you've written an article saying you don't feel this is the end of the Note line, but I think we do have to ask ourselves, I mean, when the Note 8 inevitably comes out, can the brand name survive?
That's what I was saying, and I could have been wrong. I'm probably wrong. My argument, though, is that the Note had such a great run, from 2011 till now. Note 1 through 5, skip 6, go to 7, and I feel like, okay, it's a bad year. I got a sour taste in my mouth, but the thing that kind of irks me about this whole thing is it's not so much the phone, but rather the way Samsung sort of dealt with it, recalled it, and then issued a faulty phone again. That's what concerns me. It's not, so much the phone itself. I understand Samsung was trying to do a lot. The phone was dangerous. I think that probably, it seems like that's kind of bound to happen the way we've been going with battery technology, sort of just trying to, push the capacities so we get as much battery life to power all these new components. And also we want it to charge fast and all. It seems like, okay, maybe we're going to run into an issue at some point, and we hit that issue. So I don't think I'm blaming Samsung's the Note 7 as a brand. I'm kind of blaming Samsung, and so I'm going to be cautious when it comes to the Galaxy S8, for example, next year, and I guess probably around February if they follow the regular schedule. And so I think Samsung should keep the Note brand alive. I don't know that everybody, I think Note fans are going to stick with the Note. They're probably going back to the Note 5, the people that really like the S Pen, or getting a S7 Edge or something. And I think, it's just a matter of Samsung showing its trust, trying to tell us why we should buy these products again, whether it's the S8 or they call it the S8 Pro. I don't know.
I mean, luckily, the general public has a very short memory.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time the next Note comes out, a lot of people will have forgotten about it. Of course, there will be people such as us that will remind them.
That's the problem.
I want to address something that came up on the site, and I saw a lot of this. Of course, we were accused of, making this bigger than it was. We don't report on iPhones that explode.
We do.
We do. Folks, we write up exploding iPhones. I've seen us called Apple Buffalo this week and everything else. Look, we do cover them. In most cases with the iPhone, it turns out to be a third-party charger. This is a case unlike any we've ever seen. We're going to write it up more than we write up somebody put a bad charger on an iPhone.
Yeah, I've never seen something like this in the 10 years we've been covering phones. Just like this doesn't happen.
Yeah, this is completely unprecedented. This is fresh territory for everybody. This was a very real danger. We were carrying essentially mini bombs.
Yeah, and I think that there was some confusion too because of Samsung's messaging in the beginning saying like the odds are so slim, like 1 in so many thousand units. And in fact, some publications are still quoting that, which it's not true. I mean, Samsung doesn't even know what's causing the problem yet. So you can't just say like it's the odds are slim. I mean, it could be some kind of use case scenario or something that's causing it to happen. And, you follow that pattern and yours is on fire. I mean, it's just not a safe phone. That's why if there was any way for Samsung to save this phone, I'm sure they probably would have.
Exactly.
Like it's a major launch for this. Is like Apple canceling an iPhone launch. Like this is huge. And it's important to cover that. And the fact that people are kind of blowing it off, there are articles today that say, I'm keeping my Note 7. You're crazy. You can't do that.
Insane.
And the problem is you're putting other people at risk too, whether you're in the car, you're on a plane, don't carry that phone around. And you can't, one of these articles was sort of comparing it to, well, you're more likely to get in a car crash. That's very different. First off, you need a car to, get to work, to live your life, to do something. This is a choice you make, right? Like with a phone, you can pick another phone just as easily. They're offering a return. So you can't really use those, the odds of that you're more likely to die in a car crash, so this phone's safe. I mean, it's not even apples to apples there. One day you wake up and your phone's smoking next to your bed. That's what sort of happens, I guess. But also, I want to get back real quick to the brand thing because I think, just speaking of cars, you see cars recalled a lot. I don't know. I don't follow cars that closely. I don't know if they've just outright canceled a car brand, but you see cars sort of recalled, and then you're like, oh, it's the 2016 Ford Explorer. That's a safe one, and you kind of wonder if like that's what's going to happen. Like, oh, it's the Note 8, it's a safe one or something like that.
That's a very good point. That is an excellent point. There have been very dangerous car recalls, and to the best of my knowledge, like you, I'm not a car guy. They don't tend to cancel that car style. So
like when I had a Ford Explorer with like the Firestone tires at some point, like I don't know why that sticks out in my head, but I had a Ford Explorer and I was like, I know it's not the dangerous one. I guess that's all I need to know. I don't know. This is very interesting territory. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We've got a question here from Kurt Khan, I believe. Do you believe that sales of the S8 will be affected by the Note 7? I think Samsung's going to have to do a lot of messaging. I think this is also somewhat of a condemnation of the phone industry. Well, look how thin we're making the phone. We're always making the phone thinner. Look what happened. If what we wrote up today is true about the contacts bending and touching each other, maybe there's a limit that we shouldn't go any smaller. Yeah, well, there's definitely a limit, and there's also, begs the question, like, who else is approving these things? Is it just Samsung saying, like, oh, okay, it's safe through our tests? And I think there's somebody who checks voltage. The Wall Street Journal had a great article on this about Samsung having to rebuild our trust, and it mentions or calls on regulations for batteries and for third-party folks to come in, and I think they said it would take like 4 or 5 weeks or something, but if a third party is able to examine these as they come through for phones, I think that's probably the safest bet, because otherwise we're going to probably run into this problem, right? Like Samsung can't be the only one, unless there's like just, like this overlooked engineering thing. But it sounds like it's more like we've pushed batteries as far as they're going to go. And, and Apple kind of gets off the hook in some ways because you don't see it with like, and I'm not saying, it's off the hook just because it's favored or safer or anything like that. I'm just saying they don't offer like the fast charging technologies, stuff like that. Apple's kind of behind a little bit. And I actually argued a while ago why I thought the Note 7 was the better phone. And one of the arguments was like, well, you get the wireless charging, the super fast charging. And in a lot of respects, it's the more innovative phone, right? And I think that at the cost of now safety or, at the cost of mistakes.
I am going to recycle a joke from the company chat room where I said, when we were getting slammed for, being Apple fanboys and all that. And I said, in the chat room that we gave the Note 7 a glowing review. We gave the iPhone 7 a meh review. Mm-hmm. Little did we know that the glowing portion of the Note 7 review was from the embers. Yeah. But it's true. We did give the Note 7 a very good review. I mean, you and John both went out and spent your own money to buy Note 7s. That says a lot about how we felt about this phone.
And I returned it for the replacement Note 7, which some readers were like, well, you're nuts, like, why'd you do that? Well, I didn't expect it. First off, this is kind of unprecedented. It's really unprecedented to have the replacement still, catch fire. I thought it was safe.
That is such radical. I mean, it's bad enough. First off, we very rarely have ever seen a phone recall, but to see the replacement phones be just as bad, folks, we've never seen anything like this.
That's why there's so much coverage and news, and like everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Actually, we'll have an article today we're working on where Brandon reached out to the fire department, like what you should do if your phone catches on fire in general. Because you like see these videos. There's a video yesterday we ran on the site, and like this woman comes out of her room with like a smoking phone. Like, what do? You can't just throw it in the trash, right? Like, what do you do with this thing? Throw it in the sink? Let it burn its way out. And obviously it was kind of scary on the Southwest Airlines flight. Like they just dropped it on the floor. But imagine if that happened during flight. I mean, that's terrifying.
I know. Unbelievable. So we're going to move on to other topics. I mean, honestly, we could go on about the Note 7 forever. This is a historical moment in the cellular phone industry.
Yeah. I do just want to give a small shout out because in talking about just in our chat and stuff, like what am I going to use for an Android phone? Like swap it out. And going back to the S7 Edge for me was kind of like, I mean, I went to the Note 7 and I was like, this is awesome. And now I'm like, oh, now back to the S7 Edge, which is a decent phone. I finally got to check out the Moto Z, which is the one that has like the mods you can put on it. And I actually really like it. It's really thin. It was limited to Verizon, but now you can buy it unlocked. And I think it's like $800, so it's a little expensive. But I've just been using it for the past day or so. It's a review unit, and I dig it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's
worth considering if you're in the same boat as me trying to find something.
We are fortunate that we're living in a time where there are so many phone options that it's easy for you to go out and find a great phone and find one that won't explode.
Yeah, we have a list. I think we put like OnePlus 3, a 7 Edge, a bunch of phones on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not immediately going to tell everyone, hey, go buy an iPhone. No, if you want to stay on Android, audience. You've got tons and tons of choices. Although I did see there are some analysts predicting this could possibly cause Apple to sell an extra 15 million iPhones.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that. And in a couple of news stories, folks were like, the ones that like their phone was the one that burst. They were like, yeah, I went and got an iPhone 7.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, we've got a lot of questions coming in. We are going to get to them. Yes, Stern, we are reading the YouTube chat. I saw you go by there. Big news, though, however, in music today, a lot of news in music. So Amazon finally unveiled their subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting model. I did like the fact that it was the $3.99 for one Echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, considering I have 4.
I thought that was kind of weird too. We should explain it's the Amazon Music Unlimited. Is that it? Yeah, because I don't Prime Music. So there's 2 now. Just to clarify, there's Amazon Prime Music, which is still like the the free one that comes with Prime, and you have access to like 1 or 2 million songs, which has been great for me just at home, like with my Echo. But if you want access to tens of millions of songs, now you can sign up for Amazon's sort of Spotify competitor. It's got a larger library. It starts at $7.99 a month if you're Amazon Prime, $79 a year, or $9.99 a month if you're not Amazon Prime, in which case I have no idea why you'd be buying this over something else. $3.99 per Echo. If you just want like your Echo to be this music box in your room, that should be for every Echo in the house.
Yeah.
And then there's a family plan coming, they said, up to 6 users, $14.99. So the pricing's pretty standard in that $7.99 to $10.99 range or $9.99 range. And it has some things that Spotify has and Apple Music has, like hand-curated playlists. And it also has Alexa built in, which is kind of neat. Obviously, it needs that for the Echo, but the app, I think, has it too. So you can ask her to play music instead of having to search for yourself. But if you own an iPhone or you own an Android phone, you can have and on an Android phone you can have Google look through anything by voice, and on an iPhone you can have Siri search Apple Music by voice. So it's a neat feature, but I don't see really. I'm not signing up for it. I don't see anything like, oh, I need to have this in my house, because my Alexa is already connected to Spotify. So I just, I ask her to play music on Spotify, and then that's all you have to add in, like play the Rolling Stones on Spotify. Boom. You don't.
I'm not currently subscribed to any of them. I've canceled my Pandora account, and that's not anything against Pandora. I'm just trying to cut bills. But my parents, who work off the same Echo account as I do, they've turned into music junkies with that thing. They are constantly listening to music. So I'm somewhat tempted to, and I would go for the $79, annual.
Yeah. Best deal.
So I could, play it on my phone and so on. But I'm a little tempted, because the Echo is in so many locations now, so it might make sense, but I'm still going to give it some thought. But at the same time, Pandora announced it. Well, they had already announced Pandora Plus, but they officially released Pandora Plus today, which is $4.99 a month. I am intrigued by the fact that it includes offline listening.
Yeah. See, I thought that was already available, but I guess shows what I know. I only use Pandora here and there. I don't use it as much as other things.
Right. I like using it because I get into weird, subgenres of music like psychobilly. It's great to use Pandora because then I find out about bands I may never have heard of otherwise.
Oh.
So that's why I've been a Pandora fan. Because I've enjoyed, okay, I really enjoy this artist. Who else out there is like them?
Right.
So that's been fun. But I've been doing it for several years, so that's why I finally just went ahead and cut the subscription there. But it's interesting. I mean, I find the only thing that bothers me is everything. Why has everyone decided that $9.99 is the magical number?
Yeah, there's got to be research out there that we haven't paid attention. It's $7.99 and $9.99, right? Like it's been Netflix and Spotify. It's like, here, access this library, $9.99 or $7.99.
And when I sat down and I entered all my different subscriptions and everything, it's amazing how fast all that adds up.
Yeah, when you there was a time where I had I have Xbox One, but I usually play PlayStation 4, and so my Xbox One wasn't even plugged in. And I'm like, I'm still paying for Xbox Live and like all these things. Crazy.
Yeah. No, it's
if
nuts.
you don't pay attention, or sometimes you might sign up for a trial, and thankfully with like Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and those kind of things, like the next month you get an alert. You get an alert when something hits your card, and like I'll look down and it'll be like, Google Play Music $7.99. I'll be like, what? I didn't know I was still paying for that. I mean, I do pay for Google Play Music, but
yeah, but no, I get what you're saying.
those kind of things pop up. I think like I did that with Apple Music. I remember. I think a lot of people did because we all got that free 3 months or something, and then all of a sudden you get hit.
I will say that's one thing I'm loving now about my phone is getting the notifications when charges go through on any of my cards because I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What I just
paid for that?
Exactly. Exactly. So it's actually been helpful. The last topic that we wanted to touch on this week was, of course, there's a Microsoft event coming up, and you know far more about it than I do. So I'll let you take the lead on this one.
So, I guess I don't know, but there's been a lot of speculation just reading Mary Jo Foley over at ZDNet and stuff. She was saying she's pretty certain that this is where Microsoft's going to unveil the Surface all-in-one desktop computer. And since those reports, apparently it's codenamed Cardinal inside, but since those reports we've seen across the FCC, like a keyboard and mouse, I think Bluetooth passed through it. But in any case, that's like the big thing we're expecting there is this Surface all-in-one computer. I don't know what it'll look like. Presumably, like an all-in-one, if you're not familiar, is the computer that's just the display with everything sort of built into it. Everybody, HP, Dell, Lenovo, they all have them. Apple's is the iMac, obviously. So we'll see what this offers. I mean, presumably it's going to have a touch screen because Windows 10 Anniversary was all about touch. So I imagine we're going to get some kind of Microsoft Pen input. Screen sizes, I don't know. And like what's going to make this stand out? Is it going to be super thin? We're going to get like awesome Core i7 processors probably because it's going to be a desktop computer. So that's going to be exciting. Then we're also, and this is where I've heard some of the things myself, going to expect a smaller upgrades to the existing Surface Book and Surface Pro, but I don't think we're going to get like massive changes in terms of hardware, in terms of that kind of stuff. I think probably just updated processors, RAM options, that kind of thing. And I don't think there's going to be anything on the mobile front. Obviously, Microsoft sort of stepped away from that. Always room for a surprise. But I know John specifically is very excited to see what happens with the Surface Book. Because that was a really compelling computer, and I think they made some tweaks along the way in the software. And because remember we tried it at CES last year for editing, and people were like, it's not that great." I think it's ready to shine. So let's see what they've done.
No, for anyone that ever says that we're all Apple fanboys, talk to John Rettinger about Surface.
Yeah, Surface Book. He loves that.
He can go on about the Surface products for quite a while.
Yeah,
and not go off in a bad way.
Everything.
Yeah, he loves him some Surface, but
yeah, they're great. They're great products.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're just. I'm so over Microsoft. I mean, I have been
a Microsoft fanboy like us.
No, I'm not. You guys got to remember, as the oldest member of staff, and I got into computers very early. I did my 20-some years on Microsoft computers before I just went, I'm done.
Yeah, that's why it's different for me too. Like this is what I grew up on. So, while I like Mac because it like works well with my iPhone and my iPad, I was still like, I don't know. I like Windows 10.
No. Well, let's jump into the questions, which, guys, apparently you really like YouTube chat because you've been talking up a storm over here. Nice. From Stern Fan, since you have been begging us to take the questions here, I'll start with you. Stern Fan, Todd, I am thinking of swapping to the Google Home. I just wonder what the advantage would be over my Echo. That's a question we've all been wondering.
I think the advantage would come down to, and I haven't used it, but it's going to come down to Google Assistant being, quote unquote, that much smarter. I don't know who I'm quoting there, but if it is much smarter than Alexa, then that's sort of why you'd want it over just using Alexa. And I prefer Alexa. Look, it taps into third-party services, more of them off the start. I'm not sure. It sounds like Google Home will, but it's starting with just like YouTube. So Alexa's got thousands of third-party services. And I also like the option to order from Amazon. I don't use it all that often, but every now and then you do. I know a couple friends who use it for lists around the house, and I don't use it in that manner, but some people do. So that kind of thing is kind of nice because if you're shopping through Amazon anyway, then there you go. But it if you're using Google lists and those kind of things, there's another way to do it. I don't know that that it's worth replacing Echoes for. Like I'm not doing it, Sean. I don't think you said you're not, right?
No, I went hard into the Echo ecosystem. I love the Echo, and so it's going to be very hard for me to switch things up.
Yeah, me too. And that's the other, we talk about this every show, but there's just too many ecosystems to keep up with them every time.
That has to be one of our favorite topics.
Yeah, but it's true. Every single week there's something new that.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. There's always something different coming out, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm too deep into this ecosystem. It's just like, I really want to watch Kevin Smith's film Yoga Hosers.
Mm-hmm.
First home release, he released it on some service I'd never even heard of, so I'm not going to buy it there. Then it's now on Amazon to purchase. I'm like, that's not how I purchase my movies. I purchase my movies on iTunes. That's where I started. That's just where I stay. So as much as I want to watch this movie, nope, sorry, I'm holding out till it's on the ecosystem where all my other movies are.
Yeah, that's like me with Google Play. That's where everything is for me.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to switch things up. Call me old and crotchety if you must.
Old and crotchety. You're old.
Okay.
And crotchety.
Yeah, thank you.
I am.
Yeah, we're all. What am I hearing? Oh, all of a sudden I heard an ad playing somewhere. I hate that. Anyway, from Muzzfury5, do you think Apple is going to release their own version of the Echo/Google Home? Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
My gut feeling is it's going to be built into the Apple TV. If my gut feeling is correct, that's a stupid move.
Yeah, that would be a stupid move. I feel like it should be, I mean, okay, build it into the Apple TV, but then also build it into everything else. Because the Apple TV already sort of has, I mean, it does have Siri. You can use Siri. They need this standalone product, just like Google Home, just like Amazon Echo. And if they're smart, they're going to price it like the new Echo Dot down in like the $40, $50 range, because I think Google Home's a little expensive. I know the Amazon Echo launched for like $189 or whatever, but the Amazon Echo Dot's now very cheap, and I think that gives Amazon a big leg up, and so Apple could come in low.
Yeah, no, Amazon with the new Echo, the pricing, and then ordering the 6-pack. I mean, you can outfit your entire house in one go.
Yeah,
anyone that's coming into the market now is going to have trouble, and you got to hand to Amazon. I mean, they hit the ground running with that thing.
Yep,
and it worked. I mean, I'm already locked in. I'm staying.
I think I called it like. I'm wrong all the time, but I think I said it was stupid, and I put like Siri on top of a roll of paper towels at the time, and was like, "That's all it is," and it's not. It is somehow, it's just taken over our homes. We both own multiple units. I was definitely wrong there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I bought some TP-Link smart plugs recently when Amazon had a sale on them, and it's so awesome just being able. I love when I get home at night, I can just ask Siri. I'm going to England on vacation, and the pound is in massive fluctuation right now. So like when I'm getting ready for my shower, I just ask, I don't want to say her name because there's one behind me. I just ask the Echo, what's the exchange rate? Exchange one British pound to US dollars. And every day I can track what's going on. I can ask for the news. I can ask for the weather, and being able to just walk around, not have to hold anything, just speak out my questions, speak out my commands is awesome.
Yeah.
Is such a great way to do things. And Stern Fan mentions here, I have an iMac, and I hate that I have to hit a series of keys to get Siri to listen. I wish they would have an option for an always on setting. Totally agree. I think I've used Siri twice since it was installed on my MacBook Pro. I don't want to touch the button.
Yeah, well, if you use Windows 10, you could just have Cortana open randomly, because that's what she does sometimes.
I'm always watching you, Todd. I'm here for you. Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see here. The one drawback I'll say to the YouTube chat is, and I love the fact that you guys are chatting with each other, but it's making it a little harder for me to find the actual questions in here. Let's see here. And also lots of jokes. Sorry guys, I like I said, I love the fact you're chatting, but wow, there's a lot of chatting going on. From Mr. Sean, will iPad and MacBooks have no headphone jack? We've addressed this before. I'm still not positive.
I think so. But it's just funny because it's kind of like Apple having two different messages.
No, Apple confuse us.
Yeah.
But it would take courage to remove the headphone jack. And we know that Apple's all about courage now. But lots of people suggesting that maybe you go to a Pixel XL instead of the Note 7.
I do want to go to a Pixel XL. I really do like expandable storage though, and I know I'm like a dying breed here, but I have a 256 gig micro SD card. It's got like a bunch of my pictures and movies and stuff like that on it. I know I should just get the 128 gigabyte Pixel XL. I probably will. I actually reached out to Google because I wanted to buy one. Like after it was announced, I let it settle in. I think in the last show I said I wasn't buying one. I was like, okay, maybe I will. Though I like the Moto Z here, so maybe I won't. But I was like, okay, they're gonna have a pop-up in New York City on October 20th, and a lot of people were reporting, oh, it's a Google pop-up store. It is not a store. You can't buy the products there. I just found out from Google. So anyway, I wrote an article. It's time for them to open a store. Like we should have Google stores like there's Apple stores. And it wouldn't surprise me if that happens.
There's been a lot of talk about that over the years, and I'm surprised that they haven't just finally because I mean, think of all the Chromebooks they could stock.
Yeah, and instead they have like the small like Google areas inside of Best Buys.
Right.
But Best Buy, in this example, Best Buy is only going to carry, at least in regards to the Pixel, just the Verizon version to start, which, obviously don't buy that version. That's the one that's not going to get all the updates and stuff directly from Google.
Yeah, I'm surprised Google hasn't done stores yet. I imagine it's on the drawing board, but
yeah, and maybe now it will. Now that it has these phones and all these made by Google products, quote unquote.
Right, because then they could sell the Google Home and the Pixels and carry all the different Chromebooks and they have enough products out there in the marketplace, not necessarily built by them, but I mean, Apple stores are not strictly Apple products.
Right.
Last time I was in an Apple store, I'm like, why are you carrying drones? This makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. From Brazen Franco, do you think this will mean a return to a more functional, prosumer-friendly Note device like it was before the Note 5? Or are we doomed to the double glass glue everywhere super slim phones?
I think we're doomed to those phones.
I think so.
The LG V20 is a good option if you want the removable battery and stuff like that. And I haven't used that yet, but we have one in the Irvine office, and it's going to start launching soon. So we should probably have a review, once it launches. But I think that's the good option for you. Otherwise, I really do think we're stuck with these, glass premium finish. Because remember, there were so many people, and I remember Samsung addressing this in Barcelona during Mobile World Congress once. They were like, look, like you guys said you're tired of the plastic phones. And so this was in response to the Galaxy S5, I think. Here's your, metal and glass phone. And that comes at a cost in some cases. LG was able to do it a couple times with metallic, sometimes plasticky metal. And again, I haven't used the V20, so I don't know how well it was executed there, but that's metal. But I think sort of batteries are the way, removable batteries are the way gone.
From Hilux Taco, this podcast is courageous. Yes, it is. Just like Apple. We're just like Apple. I cannot find it right now, but somebody asked if you had returned anything. I know it was one of our regulars, but
well, the Note 7.
Yeah, that's true.
Twice. That was a lot of work.
That is very true.
I returned the iPhone 7 because I bought the 7 Plus. There you go.
Good point. Good question from Muz Fury 5. Who do you think will dominate Android sales this quarter now that the Note 7 is officially dead? That is an excellent question.
My guess is Samsung with the S7 Edge stuff, but I'm not sure. I mean, LG is not usually a huge player, and man, if I was LG, I would have the V20 on store shelves now. I can't believe they're not pushing it out. It definitely gives room for the Pixel, but I think most consumers aren't going to spend that much, and they're probably not going to, having it on one carrier is not enough to really bump it. Although, once back in the day with AT&T and the iPhone exclusive, it was enough. That's a good question, but given that Samsung has lion's share of the market most of the time, I would say it's probably still gonna have that with the S7 and S7 Edge.
Hilux Taco, thank you for making your name bigger there. Sometimes it's hard to read those little names.
Also, that's U.S. sales. I mean, abroad probably.
Very true. Great point from Ahmed M. I think the V20 looks awesome. The only thing that holds me back from purchasing phones like that is not getting updates in a timely manner.
Yeah.
That is the reason I don't change my Android phone that often. Because you don't know when you're going to get these updates. I mean, sometimes it's a year.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, that's why I change my Android phone so often. Because I'm like chasing the phone that gets the updates.
Some people chase the dragon. Todd chases Android updates.
Yep, it's true. Which is why the Pixel is sort of compelling to me. I don't know. The design of it, like the iPhone 7, I said it was meh. I think it's meh. Like for me, the Android's always been like the platform where like you're going, I'm going with the micro SD card slot. I've got the iris scanner. I've got, back in the day, like the IR blaster, like all these different options that make it fun. And like the Google Pixel doesn't have all that. It's just like it's all in the software. But I've been wrong many, many times. So maybe it's awesome. I just got to use it.
Ahmed M comments, Echo is nowhere near compatible as the Google Home, in my opinion, especially when it comes to speaker quality and a feature set like the touch interactive top. And that's a very good point, Ahmed. They're the second one technically into this market. So, of course, there were some innovations. But the problem was that the Echo was so attractive in its pricing and its feature set early on that a lot of us bought into it. And so we've got an investment in that system. So while there's some parts of the Google Home that are attractive to me, I just can't reason out spending that money. Now, for someone that hasn't jumped in yet, the Google Home is going to be a lot more attractive to you.
Yeah, I would probably, if I didn't already own Echoes, I'd probably buy Google Home.
Yeah, that's the whole problem of being, people like Todd and myself, where we're early adopters. We rush in and then we're like, well, guess this is what we're using.
Yeah, or just keep buying stuff.
That's your problem, Todd.
And returning and selling, and
you are far, far more down that road than I am.
Thankfully, I mean, there's always the 30-day return. Best Buy.
That's part of my problem. I mean, my only place to buy electronics in my town is Walmart. So,
there's a Best Buy like a mile from me.
Yeah, clearly, since you ran out and bought that Echo, 30 minutes before the
Yeti? Yeah,
the Yeti.
I was like, oh man, my mic's broken. I got to go to Best Buy. I meant to buy one.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, there's no way he's going to make it back in time. You were back in like 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's right down the street.
That's probably the worst place you could have bought a house.
Yep. But it's also convenient because I return things.
Oh, okay. Well, at least, yes. From Hilux Taco, Todd has a phone addiction. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
why I write about him.
Yes, Todd definitely has a phone. Todd has many addictions when it comes to electronics.
Yeah, but that's why I'm able to write pretty passionately and have very strong opinions on it, because I, like you, am spending the money on these things a lot of the time. Like I got burned on the Note 7, not literally. But, so it's like, that's why I wrote an article. Like, come on, recall it a second time. This is nuts. Get it out of our houses.
Yeah, Oh, Samsung, I don't know what we're going to do with you. Now I worry about, any company that Samsung makes batteries for. Was it just that the contacts bent in the manufacturing process, or was there
I mean, it
something else
seems to
going on?
be, yeah, it seems to have affected even not the Samsung batteries because they had a couple suppliers. One was a subsidiary of Samsung, also called Samsung something or other, KDI maybe.
Stern, we already addressed the has Todd returned anything. Uh, let's see here. Yes, from Hilux Taco. Poor Samsung. Yeah, I know. It's horrible. Let's see here from Krutikon. Forbes had an article about the sales of other phones were affected by the Note 7, 6P up 800%, S7 up 200%.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And actually, 6P's been on sale, so that does make sense. Although, I guess it's interesting because it shows a spike in people buying unlocked phones.
I think that's the only way I want to buy phones now, though.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I did use AT&T Next for the Note 7 because it was like, oh man, do I want to plunk down $1,000? But for the most part, I'm in that boat too.
Yeah. From Ahmed M. Google Play Music is so underrated. I really love having YouTube Red and pretty much all the music you can get with Spotify or Apple Music for a single reasonable price. Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole thing. I mean, I think these music services are great. I think the problem is I want to see somebody just really bust out and go for the gusto and make like a penny a subscriber. I know that's not going to happen, folks, believe me. But every time I look at these services, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to use it enough to justify the expense.
Yeah, I use them all day long. Like Spotify, I use all day long.
Yeah, see, I'm not a big music listener while I work. I think that's
what you do.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm a podcast junkie. Every time I turn around, I'm subscribing to another one. I'm like, why did I do that? I don't have enough time to listen to the other ones yet. I love me some podcasts. I can't help it. From Stern Fan, what do you guys think of Luke Cage? I thought it was okay. I cannot wait for Iron Fist to come out. Have you watched Luke Cage yet, Todd?
No, I still haven't watched the other one.
Jessica Jones?
Yeah, Jessica Jones.
I really enjoyed Luke Cage. I thought it was definitely better than Jessica Jones. I loved the music was unbelievable in the series, from the compositions to the songs they chose. It had such a 1970s blaxploitation feel to the show. It was really well done, I thought. I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't think it was as good as Daredevil, but I liked it better than Jessica Jones. Let's see here. Yeah, from Stern Fan, Jessica Jones was awful in my opinion. Jessica Jones had some redeeming moments, but overall I was not as happy with it as I would have liked. From Hilux Taco, unlocked all the way. I totally agree. Totally agree. Even though I don't plan on switching carriers, I just like having that freedom in the back of my head.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you're not tied down to anything, man.
Well, and especially with you, when you travel internationally, for work, it's nice to be able to just go, okay, I'll just pop in this other SIM. I'm good to go.
Yep.
Yeah. Not like the old days where I had to, I stuck with BlackBerry for ages just because it was one of the few world phones.
Oh, that's right. I forgot when they had world phones.
Yeah. And I stuck with BlackBerry far longer than I probably should have.
Or Verizon?
Because
those are the ones they marketed as world phones because they had the GSM bands. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was on Sprint. Yeah. And I always, let's see, I had like the 8830 and I don't remember. The 7920 was my first one. Then I had like the 8830. I can't remember what my third one was. Those sexy names that were so easy to remember.
Yeah.
From Ahmed M. As an educator for individuals with disabilities, I think Google Assistant integration with phone and home are going to make huge waves in the universal access world. Excellent point.
I agree, but right now, home and it's the assistant integrated with home and assistant integrated with the phone, but home and the phone aren't integrated yet. That's what was boggling my mind. You need to have, I want to be able to say, okay, Google at home and get that to send directions to my phone or the queries or whatever to my phone. Like that's They need to tie that.
That is so bizarre to me. Why would you look up directions on your Google Home and then not transfer it to your phone?
Yeah, they said it's coming. I just can't believe it's not there now. I mean,
that needs to be a launch feature in my opinion.
I agree with in general.
Yeah, in general, I think somebody misspoke at CES to me this year, and unfortunately, I wrote an article on it before anyone figured out they had told me the wrong information. And it was supposed to be that you were going to be able to use basically the Echo as a speakerphone with the UMA.
Oh,
and
right.
It turned out you could answer, but you couldn't do much else with it. But I wrote a whole article about how I was so excited about the Internet of Things and smart home products being there for people with disabilities, being there for the elderly. My mother is pretty much confined to a wheelchair now. She can walk very, very short distances, but it takes her quite a while. So the idea of using something like an Echo, as a speakerphone, because if she forgets to take the cordless phone with her to the couch, it can be quite a while before she can get to a phone.
Yeah.
If she could just speak out to the world and answer the phone and have a conversation, that would be amazing.
I wonder why that's not a function in these devices.
I think it's coming. I think it's just a matter of getting that done. I'm sure it's going to come, though. But I think that, while all these things we talk about with smart home products are nice, I like the fact that I don't have to hold anything. But that's me being lazy, folks. But somebody with a disability, the elderly, whoever it may be, imagine, now this is definitely aging myself, the classic, I found and I can't get up television commercial.
Yeah, well, I remember that too.
Somebody falls and they could just speak out to their Echo, dial 911. That would be literally life-saving.
Yeah.
Be it Google Home or the Echo or whatever. That needs to happen. And I think that's where we really need to look at the wondrous advances we're making in smart home technology. And let's just, we can sit here and go, oh, Google Home's going to be better than Echo or whatever. No, let's think about how these products, in theory, are going to change people's lives down the road. That's what's exciting. I'll get off my soapbox now. Well, folks, that is going to bring this week's episode to a close. As always, we do appreciate you joining us. You can find the TechnoBuffalo Show on the iTunes Store by searching for TechnoBuffalo Show. We do appreciate if you rate and review the show. That does help us out. You can also find us on the Google Play Store. You can find us on Pocket Cast. You can subscribe via RSS feed, or you can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Until next time, I'm Sean Ani. I'm the Director of Operations. I've been joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
Until next time, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.